Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's Jim's Eye View, and I want to share this story from this young lady who transitioned from a woman to a man back to a woman. You see the confusion. So I want to share her story because it falls in line with what's happening around us as far as this gender affirming care. And President Biden signed an executive order in order to enhance protections for transgender children. So I want her to tell her story so you can see that this kind of care for children, how it could end up with a similar situation as hers. And they don't talk about the downside of it and the negative things. So I want to make sure I highlight it so that we're all under the correct assumption. It doesn't always come out the way that these kids want it to. Their minds can change as they get more in tune with their own bodies, in tune with themselves, get counseling, things like that. Let me just tell you about the executive order. It calls on the U.S. Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services to increase access to gender-affirming care and develop ways to counter state efforts aimed at limiting such treatment for transgender minors. Gender-affirming care is recommended by all major medical associations to treat gender dysphoria, the distress a person can feel when their biological sex does not align with their gender identity. It can range from social transition, changing pronouns, or dressing differently, to medical transition, including reversible puberty blockers and hormone therapy. And this young lady had the hormone therapy. So I'll go ahead and play her video and let you hear her story.
So basically, just to give you a whole little backstory as to what, when, why, how. So I was born as a cis female, meaning that I have female body parts. When I was born, my birth certificate says female. I transitioned for 3 years. I reassigned my gender. I had a gender reassignment surgery, top surgery, where I had my breast removed. And I identified as a male during that period of time. The reason that I detransitioned was not just because I keep seeing a lot of people say like, oh, you fell in love with yourself. You wasn't in love with yourself. No. So one of the main reasons I detransitioned was, one, my body was rejecting testosterone my entire journey. So it took doctor after doctor after doctor for someone to finally say, hey, you're not a candidate for testosterone because your body is just rejecting it. It was going into my body and turning into estrogen, which is why every month I was still getting my period, which is why I never got the facial hair. I don't look masculine, nothing. Like a little bit at one point, I felt like I looked a little masculine, but it did not stick. As you can see, I am very feminine.
Let's think about that for a second. So imagine a 12-year-old child already confused, thinking that they'll be better off from being a girl to being a guy. And they go have these testosterone injections and their body just starts rejecting them. What kind of damage can that do to the child's psyche? They're already going through something, and to add this on top of it, that their body's rejecting them turning into a boy or gaining facial hair, or, they're just not transitioning to look like a boy. And that's the whole goal. So they could be feeling like they're a failure and something's wrong with them because they can't get around being a girl. They feel like they can't. And then now they can't be a boy. So what kind of damage could this be doing for them to want the children to have such access to this gender affirming care? So I'm going to let her finish, but I just wanted to interject that.
I started falling in love with myself, and I started understanding me and understanding who I was internally. And I found myself. Like, it took me a while. I found myself. I understood my journey. A lot of people ask me, do I regret like having top surgery? No, it was all a part of the process to find who I am. People are asking me who I identify as now. I am a female. I go by female pronouns. I am, as you can see, a girly girl. As you can see in my pictures, a girly girl. I just showed that video to show you what I look like then and what I look like now. So yeah, basically, I am a female. I identify as a female. I was born as a female. I only transitioned for 3 years. I did have top surgery. If anyone wants to know, I do plan on having breast reconstruction to get, my breast expanded back out and get implants. And in the future, I do plan on getting my body done after I get married and have a baby. So that answers it.
Now, she said she didn't regret doing the top surgery and going through all of that because she found out who she was. But what if the time was taken and the resources were available for her to find out who she was before going through this painstaking process? If the United States government, instead of trying to advocate for this gender affirming care and changing and hormones and all of these different chemical treatments, how about more money invested in mental health, more money invested in getting these kids some clinical therapy? Let them be able to talk to counselors more to work through the issues and work through their identity. Maybe they're having some identity issues. But let's just give them this stuff now at 10 or 11 years old, and then they go through all of these. She's had to have her breast removed. Well, she chose to do that, and now she's going to get some fake ones added back on. She's had the testosterone injections, and who knows if, although it didn't stick and it was converted in her system to estrogen, who knows if there was any damage done to anything inside her body because of the extra testosterone they were pumping into her. So I just feel like, maybe we should invest more in understanding these kids, understanding who they are and all of that. But please feel free to drop a comment. Let me know how you feel about it. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, peace.